Hey everybody, JJ here. We are back with another episode of Zoom Networking. We are in July. Yay, summer's here. Hey, I'm really excited about the summer, about baseball in the summer, Dodger baseball, yes, and about our guest speaker today, young man by the name of Jason Malabute. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to him quite a while back, and he's got quite a story. But let me preface this to say that he is extremely successful. He's self-made in every respect, and he's taken on, we all get challenges and hurdles thrown our way, and he's no different. He's probably had some bigger challenges thrown in front of him that other of us will never, ever see. But he's conquered those challenges. He's moved forward. He's a wonderful person. One of my good friends, Mr. Jason Malabute. Jason, how you doing today?
I am doing great, JJ. Thank you for having me.
Hey, brother, it's a pleasure to have you here. Did you enjoy the Dodger game you and I went to last night?
Yes, I enjoyed the Dodger game and the dinner also.
Yeah, I know it was really fun going to the game with you. I'm glad you could be available. So let's talk about yourself, brother. As I've gotten to know you, I'm understanding that you have a, as you say, a challenge that God put in front of you. Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit about that challenge.
So I grew up with a physical condition called cerebral palsy, but I did not let that stop me from me becoming a real estate investor and going for what I want in life.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Your journey to where you are now, as I understand, part of that was at one point in time you decided to become an accountant. Is that correct?
Yeah. So let's rewind. First, I graduated from Woodbury University with a bachelor in accountancy. From there, got my MBA. Then I got my CPA license in 2015.
Wow, brother, that's very, very impressive. It's I have a bachelor's in business. I certainly don't have a master's. That's quite impressive. And so you became an accountant, mm-hmm. and somewhere along the way, I guess you decided to get into real estate. How did that transpire?
Yeah, so I was an accountant, and I quickly realized that taxes and accounting was not for me. And then one day I was doing my client's tax return, and I noticed that he was making a lot of money from his rental, from doing basically nothing. And then that's how I got exposed to real estate investing.
And of course, that's what we call passive income.
Yes, passive income.
Making money doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. I love that. I love making money doing absolutely nothing. I think we all do. So tell us about the beginning of your passive income journey. Were you wholesaling? Were you doing commercial? How did you start your real estate journey as an investor?
Yeah. So after I got exposed to the real estate bug, what I did was I said to myself, I need to figure out how does this real estate thing work? Because I know that real estate involves a lot of money, so I have to know how it works before I risk my money, or worse yet, risk other people's money. So for the whole year of 2018, all I did was educate myself. I didn't tell anybody what I was planning to do, but I remember I listened to every single Bigger Pockets podcast. I read all the books. I was and still am a big Grant Cardone fan. And then in 2019, that's when I started buying up a bunch of single family homes in Indianapolis, Indiana. Since then, sold all those properties, never lost money in real estate. 2020, I decided that I want to transition into multifamily. And now we're focusing to acquire our first multifamily deal, either in Kansas City or in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Great. Why did you decide to invest in Indiana and not Los Angeles?
So several things. First of all, Los Angeles is a tenant-friendly state. It's not very landlord-friendly. And second of all, Indianapolis is more about cash flow. And lastly, the rent to price ratio in the Midwest just makes more sense.
So tell us about the cash flow aspect. What is it property? It's either property value or cash flow, right?
Mm-hmm. So I would say that a lot of investors nowadays, especially the investors who are more newer to real estate, they are looking at more of an appreciation play. And appreciation is great because you get paid on the back end. However, you're really highly dependent on the market doing good, which is partly speculative. However, when you have cash flow, that is more of a secure type of perspective when you're looking into real estate investing.
Cool. Good to know. So you'd built up your passive income portfolio, which was single family homes, right? And then you decided to transition into multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
What was some of the reasoning that you wanted to go that way? Was there probably certain pluses in multifamily or certain shortcomings in single family? What was part of your rationale for that?
So I don't know if people are familiar with the BRRRR method of real estate investing. BRRRR stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. And I was doing that strategy frequently. And what I noticed was that it was taking me 6 months, 7 months to get my money back so that I could buy more properties. Okay. And I was spending so much time just to acquire one door. And I said to myself, it takes the same amount of time to get one door compared to 10, 20, 100, 200 doors. And time is more important than money. So that's the reason why I wanted to transition into multi-family, because it's more scalable.
And How long ago did you make this change from single family to multifamily?
So 2020, that's when I made the decision. And then again, I took some time to actually study multifamily because it's different compared to single family. And one of the first things I did was I got myself a mentor in multifamily.
Very cool. Now, are you in still just the one state with multifamily? Or are you in a couple different states with your multifamily investments?
So we're focused in Indianapolis and Kansas City.
And of course, well, maybe not of course, but do you have property management companies that are handling your properties for you?
Yes. Yeah, property management company is one of the most important key pieces in your real estate team. So so I vetted my property manager to make sure that they have experience in the respective market that they operate in. And another thing that's very important to me is the property manager has to be excellent when it comes to communication.
So you got these multifamily properties. Is there a certain size that you'll go up to? Is there a minimum door numbers or a maximum door number? I mean, probably.
Yes. So I always I always tell everybody that real estate investing is just like dating, meaning you have to know exactly what you are looking for. So in our um situation, for example, we are looking for anything that is 8 to 50, that's 50 units. With that said, I am comfortable with going up to 99 units just because of the network that I have. We're looking at B to C plus neighborhoods, something that's built between 1960 to about 2002. But in reality, JJ, I prefer it to be 1980s or newer, but we are aware that most of the properties being traded right now is 1960s, 1970s products.
So let me ask you. You said to 99 units. What is it about the 100 unit threshold that makes you precludes you from going over 99?
So I would say that once you get to like the anything past 85 units, that's when you are going to be competing with more sophisticated institutionalized investors, and they're just going to have more financing advantages, and also they're going to be able to put a bigger amount of at-risk capital down, which is going to be make it very hard for somebody who is not as big as them to compete against that kind of buyer. So I would recommend people who are starting out to target sellers who are considered mom and pop. And most of your mom and pop sellers are going to be owning anything that is less than 100 units.
Okay. I hear now there's a lot of talk about the economy shifting and the real estate market may be taking a dive a little bit as far as values, interest rates going up. Obviously, having been a seller's market recently, it's going to be a buyer's market. Mm-hmm. And so we as real estate investors, we can benefit in the buyer's market, we can benefit in the seller's market. I heard recently that the hedge funds are basically backing out now due to the interest rate soaring, mm-hmm. and they're offloading everything they have. Mm-hmm. And so as the prices drop and the hedge funds stepping out, does this now become a better time for us to buy maybe some of the smaller multifamily units?
Yes. Because could you imagine if we were buying properties back in 2008, 2009? Because if you jumped into a time travel machine back in 2008, 2009, everybody would have told you, you are crazy to be in real estate back in 2008, 2009. But if you bought properties correctly back then, you would be insanely in a great position right now. So I believe that we're going to be in a great opportunity, in a great position again in a few months to really acquire properties at a discount.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Particularly because I want to buy multifamily, you know.
And that's the thing about multifamily, JJ, is that during a economic downturn, as people lose their jobs, unfortunately, and then they need to scale down when it comes to their housing situation, a lot of people are going to be moving out of their house and they're going to be becoming renters in the next couple of years. So the multifamily operations doesn't really take a hit during the recession.
Okay, yeah, no, that's, as I said, I think that's really good news for me because I want to build my multifamily portfolio. Mm-hmm. And that's just phenomenal. Hey, you know, why don't we open it up? I think we got a couple questions coming in here. Sure. And we're going to pull somebody on with us. Michelle Russell, you are on with Jason Malabute. What's your question?
Hey, Jason, thanks for doing this. It's really exciting to talk to you, hon.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. I've got a question. You went from single family to multifamily, and you get really good at taking and evaluating the ARVs of houses. How long did it take you to switch that mentality, or learn the process of finding out what the value of a property is, a multifamily property? How do you figure those things out, and how long did it take you to do it? How did you jump into it? And then also once you get that done and you find out what it's worth and what the when you're funding a single family home, it's a little different. You can use your IRA and you can, you've got your money saved up. Now you go to buy something bigger. It's not really going to depend on your income anymore or your IRA. Now it's all about the property itself and the money that it brings in. So can you kind of explain that for us, so that we can, how to, yeah, just take 2 seconds, because I'm sure it will be really quick.
So first, let me premise that that was a loaded question, so I can't really answer that question in 2 seconds, but what I will say that is it took me about 6 months, 7 months to really figure out how to underwrite multi-family deals because there is so many moving pieces when it comes to underwriting, and underwriting really depends on first is which market you are in because every market has a different average expense ratio for the operating expenses. Second of all, depending on which property manager you are using, they're going to manage the property a little bit differently. So you need to communicate with them and you have to understand how do they manage the expenses? How do they manage the vacancies? Then you need to underwrite your deals in that situation. But at the same time, you need to add a little bit of a buffer in there as well so that you have room for error. For example, in Kansas City, the average vacancy is less than 5%, and you have investors underwriting vacancies at 5%, 2%, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, you guys are crazy for underwriting your deals that tight. Because if anything happens, your whole business plan is going to go out the window.
No, that's absolutely true because I do B&Bs mostly now, and vacancy rate is, I mean, that's a critical point.
And that's why I like to focus more on the B and C plus neighborhoods because you're not going to lose tenants in those kind of demographics because everybody needs to have a place to live even in a downturn. When a downturn happens, people are not going to go from the single family house to going homeless. They're going to rent first before they go homeless. And most of the time, people rent apartments in those B to C plus type of neighborhoods.
Awesome. Thank you, hun.
Sure.
Fantastic, Michelle. Thank you so much. Mr. Gail Unruh, you are on with Jason Malabute. What's your question?
Yeah, Jason, you said you're looking mostly at B and C's, which I am assuming is probably a little bit cheaper to buy in, but have you noticed any issues with property damage and payment of rent on time? Is there any of that? Do you have to overcome it because of the B and C locations?
So let me say that before I was investing in B and C neighborhoods together, and what I noticed is that when you invest more in the lower end of the C spectrum type of neighborhoods, that's when you're gonna get tenants who are less stable tenants who are living paycheck to paycheck. And that's when you're gonna get more theft.
Okay, so would you say you focus on B if possible and just take C if it looks good?
Yeah, so that's why I said that we are looking at B and C plus type of neighborhood.
Amaro Divila, my good friend, how are you?
Thank you, JJ. Thank you, Jason, for sharing your knowledge. My question is you mentioned about going for moms and pops ownership, and for you to find looking for a deal with multifamily. Are you looking for how many vacancy? Like are you like in your criteria that is you think it's good to move forward and dig deep?
To answer your question, you also have to consider what kind of financing you are going to be using when you are looking at vacancy. For example, if the property has less than 90% occupancy for the last 90 days, that means you are not going to qualify for agency financing, which is the most stable kind of financing. Because agency, you can get 5, 7, 10 years type of financing. So that means if you cannot get agency lending, that means you're gonna have to get either bridge lending, or you're gonna have to get recourse lending, or you're gonna have to get seller financing. So what is bridge? Bridge is a short-term type of financing, normally up to 3 years to 5 years if you are including extensions. But the risk when it comes to bridge financing is, what if you are unable to refinance or sell within that 3-year period, and you are unable to refinance into an either more stable type of financing, or you are unable to get your extensions? And that is how a lot of people, in my opinion, is going to be in a lot of trouble in the next 12 to 24 months, because last year in 2021, I think it was 85% of all multifamily financing was all bridge loans. So that's what you have to be careful with when you are doing financing and when you are looking at vacancies, right?
Thank you so much, Jason. It was great information.
Salamat.
Oh, speak Tagalog. You have to connect, man.
There you go. Thank you so much, Amaro.
Thank you, sir.
Fantastic. Well, Jason, you've been an absolute wealth of knowledge, my friend, and you are truly, truly inspirational. Not only have you, been faced with having cerebral palsy and something you've had to deal with your whole life, but you've taken that challenge and completely not only have overcome it by getting an education, but you've got your master's degree, become an accountant, successful investor on one platform, moving into a completely different forum with multifamily and being successful there. And more so than that, I know the time I spent with you, you're just a good guy and a nice person with a good heart. And that's actually the most important of all. and I'm honored to call you a friend, and just glad to have met you, glad to know you.
Thank you very much, JJ. I really appreciate that.
Now, let me ask you one question as we kind of wrap up here. For you as a successful investor and being successful out of state and, dealing with probably a whole bunch of different irons in the fire, what do you say is the importance of networking for the new or experienced real estate investor to get their business to grow? How important is networking, or is this real estate something that they don't really need to network and they can just kind of do it on their own?
So let me say that when you are getting into bigger deals, networking is extremely crucial because nobody buys multi-family buildings on a large scale by themselves. If there is, it's probably a 1% of all buyers. 99% of all multifamily transactions are acquired with a team of partners, both general and limited partners. And when you are looking for people that you want to either work with or people that you want to trust your hard-earned money with, you have to make sure that you guys have the same values and the same vision. Because I've seen real estate investors who are pitching deals to their limited partners, and the deals are not conservative at all. So I'm telling people, wow, if you are not investing with the correct person, you can really get hurt in this type of business. So that is why it's important for you guys to network with people and make sure that you connect with yourself with people who have the same values and the same vision as you.
Fantastic. That is fantastic. And of course, I talk about networking all the time, the importance of building our base and our connections. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. We're going to go into the breakout rooms for those of you that are on the call. If you're watching Jason's presentation on YouTube, please, subscribe to our channel, but like his video. And in the comments, please leave a comment. That just supports Jason, supports our page. And again, of course, brings us interaction. Again, if you guys are on the call right now, hang on. We're going to go to the breakout rooms with some live networking, build some real life relationships. And everybody else, thank you so much for being with us today. And hope we see you in the future for more episodes of Flipside with JJ. Over now. Thank you.